Welcome to this second part in my series of videos on Super Audio CD. In the first video, I looked at how worthwhile Super Audio CD can be for the music lover, and how SACD stacked up against its ancestor, the compact disc. I also looked at different types of SACDs on the market, how the SACD works, as well as a brief look at hardware. In this video, I am going to discuss shopping for Super Audio CD hardware and software. The first thing I should talk about is the availability of hardware. If you live in Europe and places like China and Japan, you should have a relatively easy time of acquiring hardware. If you live in North America, the story is going to be different. If you are still with me and now find yourself very interested in investing in Super Audio CD, depending on your geographical location, shopping for an SACD player could prove very challenging. When it comes to buying any kind of high-quality audio components, the best way to shop has always been by walking into a hi-fi shop and seeing and hearing the product before you bring it home. Listening to hi-fi gear in your own home with it properly set up is the best evaluation. Make sure that if you do plan to buy an SACD player, that you find out what your hi-fi dealer's return policy is. Also ask about the warranty on the product before you buy. Over the last decade, there has been a steady decline in the appreciation of hi-fi listening. As the computer and the internet are so much a part of people's lives, and with the proliferation of portable music devices, listening to high-quality music playback in the home has been seriously diminished. Portable music listening devices began in the 1980s with the Sony Walkman portable cassette tape player, which is the natural predecessor of the MP3 player. With the decline in popularity of hi-fi gear and the rise of portable music devices, not many people are interested in investing in expensive electronics. Most seem content with the MP3. If you are not content with MP3 sound, or perhaps even compact disc sound, which is still appreciated by many, you can count yourself among the very few who are serious music lovers who expect high-quality music listening. You may also find it very hard to find an in-store SACD player. If you cannot find a player, you may need to shop online, which is becoming a necessity for many who are looking for hi-fi gear. There are several online places to buy electronics from. Expect to pay a lot for shipping if your player is very large or heavy. You may want to shop where others are selling their used equipment, like AudioGone or eBay. AudioGone is one of several online sites that sell used electronics. Be aware that you could wind up with something that is defective, refurbished, or that will not live up to your expectations. Beware. When it comes to getting an SACD player, there are several types of hardware. Standalone units that play stereo and multi-channel, like this one from Sony, or a stereo-only SACD player, like this. Some people favor the stereo-only sound, others prefer multi-channel. There are also some home theater in a box units, which include the ability to play Super Audio CD. And there are also car stereos like this one that will play the format. Another hardware option is the universal player. These units are essentially DVD players that have the ability to play multiple formats, including DVD videos, DVD audio, as well as SACD. These are probably the most popular option presently for those looking for SACD playback. Finally, the Sony PlayStation 3 has the ability to play Super Audio CD. SACD.net is a safe bet for asking for advice on how to find what you are looking for. The music lovers there will only be more than willing to help. You can also consult several online websites that discuss stereo shopping. All you need to do is to start looking for sites that are all about hi-fi music. Even many of these are not exclusively audio focused, but also feature information on video hardware. Walk into stereo shops that may be nearby and ask around. You may even get lucky and find a used SACD player in a pawn shop. This is what happened to me, and here is the player. You can also read some stereo magazines, but many of these don't cover SACD very in-depth or extensively. The Sony store usually has one or two SACD players, so stop in there. Sony did invent the format along with Philips. Once you have decided on a player, you may need to buy an accompanying amplifier, cables, speaker wires, and speakers. If this is going to be part of an existing stereo system, you will need an amplifier with either a stereo CD input, or if you want to listen to SACD multi-channel surround sound, you will need an amplifier which has a 6-channel input. Another option is to have an amp with an HDMI input. Very few SACD players have HDMI outputs at present. Make sure your amplifier has the ability to accept and decode SACD signals through an HDMI wire. Consult the audio dealer or the manufacturer. For stereo listening, even older amplifiers will do the job. Any analog input on the back of an amplifier or receiver will accept the 2 stereo analog outputs from a stereo SACD player. After that, you connect your stereo speakers and you will have high-resolution stereo SACD playback. For multi-channel listening, you will need 6 analog cables running from your SACD player to the 6-channel input on your amplifier or receiver. You can also hook these cables to a multi-channel preamp, which then runs to a multi-channel power amplifier. This will deliver even more impressive results than a traditional integrated amp or AV receiver. Finally, you will need 6 speakers for multi-channel playback. I'll be covering multi-channel listening in more detail in a future video. Even if you have an existing stereo amplifier, one can see that upgrading to an SACD playback system in stereo is easy. If you want to move on to multi-channel listening in the future, make sure your SACD player has the ability to play multi-channel SACDs. You will, of course, need to add the additional speakers to the system at that time. Once you decide to buy a player, you will need software. This is actually the much easier part of the equation. SACDs can be tracked down very easily from one online website, sacd.net. SACD.net is actually an online community of SACD devotees who communicate via the forum. There are over 5,000 titles now available on Super Audio CD. Whenever new titles are announced, they are added to the growing list. When you search sacd.net, you can even shop from there by clicking on these handy vendor links. This also supports sacd.net, an invaluable tool for the SACD shopper. Also, check your local retail music shop, but don't be surprised if you don't find any SACDs there. The vast majority of SACDs are sold online. Most titles on Super Audio CD are classical, but there are a number of jazz, pop, rock, and other styles available. Do a search on sacd.net to see if your favorite music is already on SACD. I hope this video has answered your questions concerning shopping for SACD hardware and software. Thank you.